Chapters 1 through 4 of the Book of Deuteronomy, from the World English Bible. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information, or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Mark Penfold. The Book of Deuteronomy, from the World English Bible. Chapters 1 through 4. Chapter 1. These are the words which Moses spoke to all Israel beyond the Jordan, in the wilderness, in the Arabah over against Suph, between Paran, and Tophel, and Laban, and Hazeroth, and Dizahab. It is 11 days' journey from Horeb by the way of Mount Seir to Kadesh Barnea. It happened in the 40th year, in the 11th month, on the first day of the month, that Moses spoke to the children of Israel, according to all that Yahweh had given him in commandment to them, after he had struck Sihon, the king of the Amorites, who lived in Heshbon, and Og, the king of Bashan, who lived in Ashtaroth, at Edrei. Beyond the Jordan, in the land of Moab, began Moses to declare this law, saying, Yahweh our God spoke to us in Horeb, saying, You have lived long enough in this mountain. Turn, and take your journey, and go to the hill country of the Amorites, and to all the places near there, in the Arabah, in the hill country, and in the lowland, and in the south, and by the seashore, the land of the Canaanites, and Lebanon, as far as the great river, the river Euphrates. Behold, I have set the land before you. Go in and possess the land which Yahweh swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give to them and to their seed after them. I spoke to you at that time, saying, I am not able to bear you myself alone. Yahweh your God has multiplied you, and behold, you are this day as the stars of the sky for multitude. Yahweh, the God of your fathers, make you 1,000 times as many as you are, and bless you as he has promised you. How can I myself alone bear your encumbrance, and your burden, and your strife? Take wise men of understanding, and well known according to your tribes, and I will make them heads over you. You answered me and said, The thing which you have spoken is good to do. So I took the heads of your tribes, wise men and known, and made them heads over you, captains of thousands, and captains of hundreds, and captains of 50s, and captains of 10s, and officers according to your tribes. I commanded your judges at that time, saying, Hear cases between your brothers, and judge righteously between a man and his brother, and the foreigner who is living with him. You shall not show partiality in judgment. You shall hear the small and the great alike. You shall not be afraid of the face of man, for the judgment is God's. The case that is too hard for you, you shall bring to me, and I will hear it. I commanded you at that time all the things which you should do. We traveled from Horeb and went through all that great and terrible wilderness which you saw, by the way to the hill country of the Amorites, as Yahweh our God commanded us, and we came to Kadesh Barnea. I said to you, You have come to the hill country of the Amorites, which Yahweh our God gives to us. Behold, Yahweh your God has set the land before you. Go up, take possession, as Yahweh the God of your fathers has spoken to you. Don't be afraid, neither be dismayed. You came near to me, every one of you, and said, Let us send men before us, that they may search the land for us, and bring us word again of the way by which we must go up, and the cities to which we shall come. The thing pleased me well, and I took 12 men of you, 1 man for every tribe. And they turned and went up into the hill country, and came to the valley of Eshcol, and spied it out. They took of the fruit of the land in their hands, and brought it down to us, and brought us word again, and said, It is a good land which Yahweh our God gives to us. Yet you wouldn't go up, but rebelled against the commandment of Yahweh your God. And you murmured in your tents and said, Because Yahweh hated us, he has brought us forth out of the land of Egypt, to deliver us into the hand of the Amorites, to destroy us. Where are we going up? Our brothers have made our heart to melt, saying, The people are greater and taller than we. The cities are great and fortified up to the sky, and moreover, we have seen the sons of the Anakim there." Then I said to you, "Don't dread, neither be afraid of them. Yahweh your God, who goes before you, he will fight for you according to all that he did for you in Egypt before your eyes, and in the wilderness, where you have seen how that Yahweh your God bore you, as a man does bear his son, in all the way that you went, until you came to this place. Yet in this thing you didn't believe Yahweh your God, who went before you in the way, to seek you out a place to pitch your tents in fire by night, to show you by what way you should go, and in the cloud by day. Yahweh heard the voice of your words, and was angry, and swore, saying, 'Surely not one of these men of this evil generation shall see the good land which I swore to give to your fathers, except Caleb the son of Jephunneh. He shall see it. And to him will I give the land that he has trodden on, and to his children, because he has wholly followed Yahweh.' Also Yahweh was angry with me for your sake, saying, 'You also shall not go in there. Joshua the son of Nun, who stands before you, he shall go in there. Encourage you him, for he shall cause Israel to inherit it. Moreover, your little ones, whom you said should be a prey, and your children, who this day have no knowledge of good or evil, they shall go in there, and to them will I give it, and they shall possess it. But as for you, turn and take your journey into the wilderness, by the way to the Red Sea.' Then you answered and said to me, 'We have sinned against Yahweh. We will go up and fight according to all that Yahweh our God commanded us.' Every man of you put on his weapons of war, and presumed to go up into the hill country. Yahweh said to me, 'Tell them, don't go up, neither fight, for I am not among you, lest you be struck before your enemies.' So I spoke to you, and you didn't listen. But you rebelled against the commandment of Yahweh, and were presumptuous, and went up into the hill country. The Amorites, who lived in that hill country, came out against you, and chased you as bees do, and beat you down in Seir, even to Hormah. You returned and wept before Yahweh, but Yahweh didn't listen to your voice, nor gave ear to you. So you stayed in Kadesh many days, according to the days that you remained." Chapter 2. Then we turned, and took our journey into the wilderness by the way to the Red Sea, as Yahweh spoke to me, and we encircled Mount Seir many days. Yahweh spoke to me, saying, "You have encircled this mountain long enough. Turn northward, command the people, saying, 'You are to pass through the border of your brothers the children of Esau, who dwell in Seir, and they will be afraid of you. Take good heed to yourselves, therefore. Don't contend with them. For I will not give you of their land, no, not so much as for the sole of the foot to tread on. Because I have given Mount Seir to Esau for a possession. You shall purchase food of them for money, that you may eat, and you shall also buy water of them for money, that you may drink. For Yahweh your God has blessed you in all the work of your hand. He has known your walking through this great wilderness. These 40 years Yahweh your God has been with you. You have lacked nothing.' So we passed by from our brothers the children of Esau, who dwell in Seir, from the way of the Arabah, from Elath, and from Ezion-Geber. We turned and passed by the way of the wilderness of Moab. Yahweh said to me, 'Don't bother Moab, neither contend with them in battle, for I will not give you of his land for a possession, because I have given Ar to the children of Lot for a possession.' The Emim lived therein before, a people great and many, and tall as the Anakim. These also are accounted Rephaim, as the Anakim, but the Moabites call them Emim. The Horites also lived in Seir before, but the children of Esau succeeded them. And they destroyed them from before them, and lived in their place, as Israel did to the land of his possession, which Yahweh gave to them. Now rise up and cross over the brook Zered. We went over the brook Zered. The days in which we came from Kadesh Barnea, until we had come over the brook Zered, were 38 years, until all the generation of the men of war were consumed from the midst of the camp, as Yahweh swore to them. Moreover, the hand of Yahweh was against them, to destroy them from the midst of the camp, until they were consumed. So it happened, when all the men of war were consumed and dead from among the people, that Yahweh spoke to me, saying, You are this day to pass over Ar, the border of Moab. And when you come near over against the children of Ammon, don't bother them, nor contend with them, for I will not give you of the land of the children of Ammon for a possession, because I have given it to the children of Lot for a possession. That also is accounted a land of Rephaim. Rephaim lived therein before, but the Ammonites call them Zamzummim, a people great and many and tall as the Anakim. But Yahweh destroyed them before them. And they succeeded them, and lived in their place, as he did for the children of Esau, who dwell in Seir, when he destroyed the Horites from before them. And they succeeded them, and lived in their place even to this day. And the Avim, who lived in villages as far as Gaza, the Caphtorim, who came forth out of Caphtor, destroyed them, and lived in their place. Rise up, take your journey, and pass over the valley of the Arnon. Behold, I have given into your hand Sihon the Amorite, king of Heshbon, and his land. Begin to possess it, and contend with him in battle. This day will I begin to put the dread of you and the fear of you on the peoples who are under the whole sky, who shall hear the report of you, and shall tremble, and be in anguish because of you. I sent messengers out of the wilderness of Kedemoth to Sihon king of Heshbon with words of peace, saying, Let me pass through your land. I will go along by the highway. I will turn neither to the right hand nor to the left. You shall sell me food for money, that I may eat, and give me water for money, that I may drink. Only let me pass through on my feet, as the children of Esau who dwell in Seir, and the Moabites who dwell in Ar, did to me, until I shall pass over the Jordan into the land which Yahweh our God gives us. But Sihon king of Heshbon would not let us pass by him. For Yahweh your God hardened his spirit, and made his heart obstinate, that he might deliver him into your hand, as at this day. Yahweh said to me, Behold, I have begun to deliver up Sihon and his land before you. Begin to possess, that you may inherit his land. Then Sihon came out against us, he and all his people, to battle at Jahaz. Yahweh our God delivered him up before us, and we struck him, and his sons, and all his people. We took all his cities at that time, and utterly destroyed every inhabited city. With the women and the little ones, we left none remaining. Only the livestock we took, for a prey to ourselves, with the spoil of the cities which we had taken. From Aroer, which is on the edge of the valley of the Arnon, and the city that is in the valley, even to Gilead, there was not a city too high for us. Yahweh our God delivered up all before us. Only to the land of the children of Ammon you didn't come near. All the side of the river Jabbok, and the cities of the hill country, and wherever Yahweh our God forbade us. Chapter 3. Then we turned, and went up the way to Bashan. And Og, the king of Bashan, came out against us, he and all his people, to battle at Edrei. Yahweh said to me, Don't fear him, for I have delivered him and all his people and his land into your hand. And you shall do to him as you did to Sihon, king of the Amorites, who lived at Heshbon. So Yahweh our God delivered into our hand Og also, the king of Bashan, and all his people. And we struck him until none was left to him remaining. We took all his cities at that time. There was not a city which we didn't take from them. 60 cities, all the region of Argob, the kingdom of Og in Bashan. All these were cities fortified with high walls, gates, and bars, besides the unwalled towns, a great many. We utterly destroyed them, as we did to Sihon, king of Heshbon, utterly destroying every inhabited city, with the women and the little ones. But all the livestock and the spoil of the cities we took for a prey to ourselves. We took the land at that time, out of the hand of the 2 kings of the Amorites who were beyond the Jordan, from the valley of the Arnon to Mount Hermon. The Sidonians call Hermon Sirion, and the Amorites call it Senir. We took all the cities of the plain, and all Gilead, and all Bashan, to Salecah and Edrei, cities of the kingdom of Og in Bashan. For only Og king of Bashan remained of the remnant of the Rephaim. Behold, his bedstead was a bedstead of iron. Isn't it in Rabbah of the children of Ammon? 9 cubits was its length, and 4 cubits its breadth, after the cubit of a man. This land we took in possession at that time, from Aroer, which is by the valley of the Arnon, and half the hill country of Gilead, and its cities gave I to the Reubenites and to the Gadites. And the rest of Gilead, and all Bashan, the kingdom of Og, gave I to the half tribe of Manasseh. All the region of Argob, even all Bashan, the same is called the land of Rephaim. Jair the son of Manasseh took all the region of Argob, to the border of the Geshurites and the Maacathites, and called them, even Bashan, after his own name, Havoth Jair, to this day. I gave Gilead to Machir. To the Reubenites and to the Gadites I gave from Gilead, even to the valley of the Arnon, the middle of the valley, and its border, even to the river Jabbok, which is the border of the children of Ammon. The Arabah also, and the Jordan and its border, from Chinnereth even to the sea of the Arabah, the salt sea, under the slopes of Pisgah eastward. I commanded you at that time, saying, Yahweh your God has given you this land to possess it. You shall pass over armed before your brothers the children of Israel, all the men of valor. But your wives and your little ones and your livestock, I know that you have much livestock, shall live in your cities which I have given you, until Yahweh gives rest to your brothers, as to you, and they also possess the land which Yahweh your God gives them beyond the Jordan. Then you shall return every man to his possession, which I have given you. I commanded Joshua at that time, saying, Your eyes have seen all that Yahweh your God has done to these 2 kings. So shall Yahweh do to all the kingdoms where you go over. You shall not fear them, for Yahweh your God, he it is who fights for you. I begged Yahweh at that time, saying, Lord Yahweh, you have begun to show your servant your greatness and your strong hand. For what God is there in heaven or in earth that can do according to your works, and according to your mighty acts? Please let me go over and see the good land that is beyond the Jordan, that goodly mountain, and Lebanon. But Yahweh was angry with me for your sakes, and didn't listen to me. And Yahweh said to me, Let it suffice you. Speak no more to me of this matter. Go up to the top of Pisgah, and lift up your eyes westward, and northward, and southward, and eastward, and see with your eyes, for you shall not go over this Jordan. But commission Joshua, and encourage him, and strengthen him, for he shall go over before this people, and he shall cause them to inherit the land which you shall see. So we stayed in the valley, over against Beth Peor. Chapter 4. Now, Israel, listen to the statutes and to the ordinances which I teach you, to do them, that you may live, and go in and possess the land which Yahweh, the God of your fathers, gives you. You shall not add to the word which I command you, neither shall you diminish from it, that you may keep the commandments of Yahweh your God, which I command you. Your eyes have seen what Yahweh did because of Baal Peor. For all the men who followed Baal Peor, Yahweh your God has destroyed them from the midst of you. But you who were faithful to Yahweh your God are all alive this day. Behold, I have taught you statutes and ordinances, even as Yahweh my God commanded me, that you should do so in the midst of the land where you go in to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the peoples, who shall hear all these statutes and say, Surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what great nation is there that has a God so near to them, as Yahweh our God is whenever we call on him? What great nation is there that has statutes and ordinances so righteous as all this law, which I set before you this day? Only take heed to yourself, and keep your soul diligently, lest you forget the things which your eyes saw, and lest they depart from your heart all the days of your life. But make them known to your children, and your children's children, the day that you stood before Yahweh your God in Horeb, when Yahweh said to me, Assemble me the people, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they live on the earth, and that they may teach their children. You came near and stood under the mountain, and the mountain burned with fire to the heart of the sky, with darkness, cloud, and thick darkness. Yahweh spoke to you out of the midst of the fire. You heard the voice of words, but you saw no form. You only heard a voice. He declared to you his covenant, which he commanded you to perform, even the 10 Commandments, and he wrote them on 2 tables of stone. Yahweh commanded me at that time to teach you statutes and ordinances, that you might do them in the land where you go over to possess it. Take therefore good heed to yourselves, for you saw no kind of form on the day that Yahweh spoke to you in Horeb out of the midst of the fire, lest you corrupt yourselves, and make yourself an engraved image in the form of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any animal that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged bird that flies in the sky, the likeness of anything that creeps on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the water under the earth. And lest you lift up your eyes to the sky, and when you see the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the army of the sky, you are drawn away, and worship them, and serve them, which Yahweh your God has allotted to all the peoples under the whole sky. But Yahweh has taken you, and brought you forth out of the iron furnace, out of Egypt, to be to him a people of inheritance, as at this day. Furthermore, Yahweh was angry with me for your sakes, and swore that I should not go over the Jordan, and that I should not go in to that good land which Yahweh your God gives you for an inheritance. But I must die in this land. I must not go over the Jordan. But you shall go over, and possess that good land. Take heed to yourselves, lest you forget the covenant of Yahweh your God, which he made with you, and make you an engraved image in the form of anything which Yahweh your God has forbidden you. For Yahweh your God is a devouring fire, a jealous God. When you shall father children, and children's children, and you shall have been long in the land, and shall corrupt yourselves, and make an engraved image in the form of anything, and shall do that which is evil in the sight of Yahweh your God, to provoke him to anger, I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that you shall soon utterly perish from off the land whereunto you go over the Jordan to possess it. You shall not prolong your days on it, but shall utterly be destroyed. Yahweh will scatter you among the peoples, and you shall be left few in number among the nations, where Yahweh shall lead you away. There you shall serve gods, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. But from there you shall seek Yahweh your God, and you shall find him, when you search after him with all your heart and with all your soul. When you are in oppression, and all these things have come on you, in the latter days you shall return to Yahweh your God, and listen to his voice. For Yahweh your God is a merciful God. He will not fail you, neither destroy you, nor forget the covenant of your fathers which he swore to them. For ask now of the days that are past, which were before you, since the day that God created man on the earth, and from the one end of the sky to the other, whether there has been anything as this great thing is, or has been heard like it. Did a people ever hear the voice of God speaking out of the midst of the fire, as you have heard, and live? Or has God tried to go and take a nation for himself from the midst of another nation, by trials, by signs, and by wonders, and by war, and by a mighty hand, and by an outstretched arm, and by great terrors, according to all that Yahweh your God did for you in Egypt before your eyes? It was shown to you so that you might know that Yahweh is God. There is no one else besides him. Out of heaven he made you to hear his voice, that he might instruct you. And on earth he made you to see his great fire, and you heard his words out of the midst of the fire. Because he loved your fathers, therefore he chose their seed after them, and brought you out with his presence, with his great power, out of Egypt, to drive out nations from before you, greater and mightier than you, to bring you in, to give you their land for an inheritance, as at this day. Know therefore this day, and lay it to your heart, that Yahweh, he is God in heaven above, and on the earth beneath. There is none else. You shall keep his statutes, and his commandments, which I command you this day, that it may go well with you, and with your children after you, and that you may prolong your days in the land, which Yahweh your God gives you for ever." 007:004 Then Moses set apart 3 cities beyond the Jordan toward the sunrise, that the manslayer might flee there, who kills his neighbour unawares, and didn't hate him in time past; and that fleeing to one of these cities he might live: Bezer in the wilderness, in the plain country, for the Reubenites; and Ramoth in Gilead, for the Gadites; and Golan in Bashan, for the Manassites. 007:005 This is the law which Moses set before the children of Israel. These are the testimonies, and the statutes, and the ordinances, which Moses spoke to the children of Israel, when they came forth out of Egypt, beyond the Jordan, in the valley over against Beth Peor, in the land of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who lived at Heshbon, whom Moses and the children of Israel struck when they came forth out of Egypt. 007:006 They took his land in possession, and the land of Og king of Bashan, the 2 kings of the Amorites, who were beyond the Jordan toward the sunrise, from Aroer, which is on the edge of the valley of the Arnon, even to Mount Sion (the same is Hermon), and all the Arabah beyond the Jordan eastward, even to the sea of the Arabah, under the slopes of Pisgah. The end of Deuteronomy chapters 1 through 4, from the World English Bible. Narrated by Mark Penfold.